Hello everyone and welcome back to English Speedrun Restream. We just reached 4 million yen. I completely missed this. Oh. We got 4 million yen and we are running Death Door and we have with me happybythree. We have yet again swap roles between host and commentary. How are you doing?
I'm fabulous. How are you?
When I save you.
I'm realizing that I did not post in the Death's Door Discord, so I'm very quickly being like, hey, there's English comms, by the way.
Whoa, we're here! I assume you have like a lot of experience with this game.
Yes, I've been running this game for quite a long time. I have a tattoo of the protagonist of this game and a couple little friends. I like this game a whole lot.
Game good. What is this game about?
Yeah,
Besides
so
balls?
excuse me. This is an isometric. It feels wrong to call it a Metroidvania because it is pretty linear, so you don't really have the like. I think a key part of Metroidvania is probably that like you can do things out of order. But it's got basically everything else, where you have different abilities and upgrades and such, and as you unlock them, you can go back and explore new spaces in different areas. It's like a top-down isometric, and the plot is that you are a little crow who works collecting souls for the afterlife. The kind of rules of the world are once somebody has died, their soul needs to be collected and put to rest, or they start to get out of control and dangerous. And so we start out here and we talk to our little friend, and he's like, hey, go through this big old door because you have a job to do and go take care of this soul. This is a little bit of a Souls-like. So we do a save and quit there real quick, because a save and quit in this game, you'll see that a lot. A save and quit always takes you back to the most recent door that you've entered, or the most recent door that has spawned, in this case. So that teleports us up to the door so we don't have to walk back. And this is unrestricted, so you're going to see all of the glitches this game has to offer, starting with that one, where we just roll around that door, and now we are in one of the late game areas. Nice. Those are both very precise, so getting both of those first try is really good. この右側からですね、先に落下しておくと、今自動的にムービーコースしている。Okay, so we have done a bunch of work there to glitch around those stairs and stuff and unlock this mimic. This is Avarice 3. Is this Avarice 2 or Avarice 3? It's been a while, but it's Avarice. So Avarice are these fights that you do. Oh, that's Ava 1. Okay. Avarice are these fights that you do to unlock different abilities. And so after you finish each area, you have to go do an Avarice fight to unlock an ability that brings you to the second part of that area. So the game is separated into like the front and back half of several different areas. And avarice is the dividing line between part 1 and part 2. So what we did there is by getting up to this avarice fight, by getting to the avarice fight and then dying at the same time that we trigger the cutscene, the game is like, okay, well, in order to be at avarice, you have to have gotten this door inside of the manor. So we should just send you back to the door in the manor. We haven't, though. There's a ton of gameplay we're supposed to do before the manor. The game just assumes that we didn't break the logic ridiculously and sends us back to that door. And then we come back and do the actual avarice fight. Yeah, this is Ava 1. Okay. It's got the pots. As you may have noticed, I did not run the glitched categories of this game. I know enough about the layout of the game to know what is going wrong. But I won't necessarily be useful for explaining exactly how different glitches work. I play Restricted. So Unrestricted has become a very fun category. So a smart way to do that. Spawns in these fights, just the way they're doing the fight was things got a little bit off track and they solved it by just running, so everything kind of funneled toward them, so it was easier to keep track of everything. The avarice fights are a little weird because that's a fun little glitch. So the first time you set a flag that you've like, I think it's the first time you come back to the hub through a door, it brings you to that middle, that larger crow, and it's like, hey, I'm the guy you can buy upgrades from. Come over here and buy some upgrades. Normally the camera is not that far away from him. That's why the camera moves very quickly over to his position, because it's kind of like, wait, but why are we over here? Oh, but yeah, so combat in this game is generally kind of scripted and structured until it's not. So enemy spawn locations are consistent, but enemy attacks are not. So if you can kill something pretty much as soon as it spawns, you can pretty reliably do combat the same way every single time. But sometimes there's too many enemies for that to be an option. Just doing a camera glitch here, this is one of the few I'm actually very familiar with, is getting the camera to stay here so that our collision changes, so we're able to move around that gate that we probably shouldn't have been able to go around. But yeah, so big part of this game is combat, and combat is largely structured. Yeah, you can just shoot that through the wall. That wall doesn't have collision with arrows. You have to get pretty close to it, but there's a whole like tutorial area that's supposed to teach you movement, and you just don't. So this is the first boss that we were supposed to fight when we like first loaded in, and our little friend was like, hey, you have a job to do, go take care of this corrupted soul. This was that. We just did some other stuff first. So that's a super quick, easy fight because it's the tutorial boss. ここでボスですね、倒したソウルがもらえます。ソウルもらうんですか？なんだか巨大なカラスが出てきて奪われてしまいました。どうしよう。入るかな。ということで、カラスが出してたんですが、起き上がって we get got by the gray crow. We'll come back to him later. Yeah, so when we did that camera glitch, that was so that we could get these knives, the daggers. And the biggest reason for these is because we can do a glitch. You're going to notice a lot of pausing from here on. If you roll heavy slash and then pause at the right time during that slash, you'll notice the crow just kind of keeps like ice skating basically. It is very, very fast to move around the map that way compared to normal rolling movement. You may also notice they're doing a heavy slash at every door. It saves a couple of frames of animation. If you heavy slash before opening a door, it just sends you right through the door instead of doing the whole animation. Nice. So that is just doing, we call them zoomies when you pause in the middle of the slash and kind of ice skate quickly. That trick is called zoomies. And so we just did zoomies over the gap there to get to the next Avarice fight. Because completing the Avarice fights, again, just kind of tells the game you've been somewhere that you haven't been, and more importantly, gives you your upgrades. So after the first Avarice fight, we got the Fireball, which allows us to light braziers on fire to solve certain puzzles and stuff. Literally all we did with it was open one gate in the overworld, but normally in the game you could use that to do all kinds of stuff. And now we are in Avarice. I think this is 3 with all of the mages. I haven't run the game in a little bit, so I may be wrong. But I'm pretty sure this is Ava 3, which gives us the hook shot. That is not obviously the order we're supposed to do things in. We are skipping Avarice 2. But that's fine, because we just need the hook shot. Yeah, this is definitely 3. The way these are set up, each area has like different enemies, and so it's supposed to be sort of like, you know, I say definitely and then I'm going to be wrong, but each area is supposed to have like different oh, interesting. Why are you doing roll strats for smoke? That's an interesting way to do the Smo fight. If you stand on their left butt cheek on the back, the Smos just don't hurt you. Or you can do the roll back and forth. It might be slightly faster to roll back and forth, honestly, but less safe. Yeah. So now, a little pause glitch. We have the pause menu open while Avarice is happening, which, as you might imagine, is not supposed to be happening. They don't want to cut. They don't want a pause menu covering up their cutscene. Now we can move around while also having this open, and we have our hook shot, and that's why. Because when you have that pause menu open and you're moving, you can angle there, and the hook shot basically gets unlimited range, and line it up there with a lamp post on the other side of the map, and it just zips you over to that side of the map. Yes, you probably saw there the setup for the camera. Moving the camera was we got into this glitched state where it looks like the protagonist is holding the bow, but there's nothing in its hands. And once you're in that glitched state, the camera doesn't follow you correctly, and you can start moving outside of the camera. Just did some zoomies to get over this gap to avoid a tutorial fight. That guy over on the right, really cool character. really cool like late game fight with him. It's like an optional late game boss. But he also teaches us about roll slashes and heavy slashes as part of the tutorial. We don't want to mash through all of his dialogue, obviously, so we just use some zoomies to get over here.
We're just being a pigeon, just flying around.
Truly, yeah. This is... You don't normally get to actually fly with the protagonist, but in Unrestricted, you get to live your New York pigeon dreams and just fly around and ignore everybody.
これも地味に難しいんですが危なげなく進んでいきます。次のマップはロックストーン城というお城なんですが、この橋を渡るために高度をちょっと下げなきゃいけないので、無理やり画面下方向に進んで高度を調整して橋の上にうまく着地をします。ありがとうございます。さあ。
As you can see, we can't quite get through this door. The game has been broken enough that certain triggers haven't been hit and certain flags haven't been set, so some areas are not open the way they're supposed to be. But luckily, we can just ignore that.
デスドアのゲーム紹介をちょっと簡単にしましょうか。
ちょっと待ってね。OK.
Nice. So I mentioned earlier, the game is separated into kind of 3 areas. Each is split into 2. And so you do the first half of the area, get the upgrade from Avarice, and then go do the second half of the area. We are now in the second half of Area 3. So we are basically at the last hardest section before like final boss territory, right here. Normally you would not get here until very, very late game. We are here in 15 minutes.
戦いを強いられるマップなんですけども、ここもですね、お空を飛ぶことができる。
Just went through that door and back to get a heal. When you enter a door, you heal, and that is obviously quite valuable when you have to do a strat where you roll off the side of the map and it takes damage and you only have 1 pip of health left. Because if we tried to do that glitch with only 1 health, we would die. Alright, we just skipped all of the platforming in this area. Skipped over that arena right there. That is Ice Arena. It's like the hardest arena in the game. We're going to just not do it. And then we're going to come to the last of the bosses, Betty. We do have to fight Betty because it unlocks a very important door.
But
The Betty fight is quite nice. If you get locked into this little spot and you roll... Yep. Perfect. This is going really well. You can get this really nice rhythm where you get like hit, 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 roll, hit, 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 roll, and you can kind of trap Betty in this cycle so that she never does... it is possible to kill her without any roll attacks happening, but very, very, very hard. This is still going incredibly well. Also, that's really funny. That strat of running up against the wall for the roll attacks is new since last time I played. I didn't know we could do that. You can just avoid damage by being against the wall there. That's wild.
Pretty well done.
Yeah, easy fight. It is not. Betty casually is very frustrating. But, speedrunning tradition. Make everything look easy. Yeah. So 2 things are going to happen now. One, we're going to have a little funeral for Betty. And then it shows that like Betty's soul at the door. What we're supposed to be doing is getting all 3 of these corrupted souls to open Death's door. We have 1 of them now, and the first time you kill a boss, you have this cutscene where you go and visit. Yay! That's a really good glitch. If you go into a cutscene with zoomies, you just run back and forth. This is the Lord of Doors, the world's best lord. This is our boss. And after we get that first kill, he calls, I think canonically they, them actually. They call us into their office, and we think they're going to be mad, but then they're like, yeah, I'm so proud of you. Get back to it, kid. And so we get this cutscene after killing the third boss, because it is the first boss that we've killed. That's it. That's Death's Door.
あれがタイトルにある実はデスドアになります。さあ戻ってきました。戻ってくるとソウルを得たので、能力強化をしましょう。
So now we're gonna get some upgrades real quick, just 2 in 1. Give us a little attack, extra attack power, a little extra movement speed. Only takes a few seconds when we load there anyway, and it'll save time. What is to come.
ここですね。ここから右側です
Kind of surprising that we fight that previous boss without any power up. There's like no way to get an upgrade earlier to get some stronger damage against it.
You could, but it would include going out of your way in the hub world. So like you could as a safety strat, but it would be slower. There's no way to do it fast. So now we're basically doing reverse boss order. Now that we have the hook shot and we have talked to the Lord of Doors, say hello to Leg Day. It's our sweet, sweet boy with his tiny little legs. Hi, Leg Day. We are now in the first part of the second area of the game. So we're going back now and basically reverse boss ordering. We need to go take care of the second boss and then the first boss so we can get into Death's Door. We are now in the second part of the second area. Casually, that first half of this area would probably take several hours. We just ignored it in about 15 seconds. Nice. Some pause buffering there to get the menu glitch back up.
ここから対応する技にですね、ARC、エアロールキャンセルというものがあります。さあその前にちょっとアイフックをやるかな。ビヨーンと飛んでいくアイフックを失敗しちゃった。
There we go. No, dang.
今のなし。
So just gonna do a save and quit real quick and try that again. Luckily, save and quit will take us right there because that's the last doorway we went through. So all we have to do is walk back through the other way and then do the pause buffering again.
メニューを出してもう一回メニュー持ち越しができるかな。
It looked almost clean first attempt.
さあ落ち着いてもう一回フックやりましょう。フックショット
This is a pretty precise angle, as you might imagine, to get the game to glitch us completely across.
頑張って。フックショットを出すために。
So we're using these boxes to try and get the menu glitch back up. Nice. A little bit faster than going back through the door.
持ち越しを今ちょっとやりました。そしておまた失敗しちゃった。
Why is this glitch being mean?
もう一回頑張って落ち着いて。もう一回やりましょう。さあ落ち着いてメニューを出してメニュー持ち越しをやっていきます。できましたね。
いつもこれ失敗しないけどな。これだけは。
落ち着いてじゃあもう一回アイフックやりましょう。いけたかな？
多分。
ピョーンと飛びました。うまい。よかった。よかったですね。ほっとしました。
ちょっと待って。よかった。
はい。これでもう一回ダメージをあえて受けることでメニューを出したままメニュー持ち越しをできるようにして。
Never set up.
Yep, now we've got both the pause menu glitch and the camera glitch going at the same time. You can see the protagonist starts ice skating while holding an invisible bow.
本来渡れないところを渡るという技をここからですねどんどんやっていきます。
And so now that we're off camera, they're fully doing this blind. Max is
進んでいくはずだったんですがちょっと失敗しちゃいましたね。
moving without any indicators.
これでメニュー持ち越しがもう一回できるようになっているはずなので、もう一回スクリーンロックですね。画面固
Got us
定
where
し
we
て
need to be.
シューッと滑っていって、
All right. First time every time. Yeah. So not only are these precise setups, but they're precise setups off screen
まで移動をしていきます。難しいんですよね。
and you can't see what you're doing.
さあ本来乗れない場所
And you're surrounded by water that
高
kills
く
you.
なっているところに
あちょちょ
乗れていますね。すごいよかった。
That's it. All right.
失敗しがち。そしてちょっと位置調整をしてフックショット
Step
2
one.
回連射
Get up here so that we are at the right vertical angle.
いけたかな。
多分おい
あー失敗しちゃったもう一回行きましょう。
And this is why we have
落ち着いていきましょう。
the 55 estimate.
どっちでもいいよ。
Because
じゃあ
these are just so precise.
これは
that
普通本当にやるところですね。通常のストーリー進行でもやるこ
it's
のはしごを下ろして
reasonable to believe it's going to take several attempts.
説明した
Max's unrestricted any weapon
これもなかなか
is
難しいんですが
like
対応し
a
ていきます。
35-minute
さあ
PB.
ここで画面
So
外見えない
that
と
extra
ころを
20 minutes is just to account for
ちょっとアイフックでビョーンと
the game
こうショートカットする
being the game and stuff like this inevitably happening.
そしてまたはしごを下ろしてはい
But we have moved on,
敵が出てくるのを
spawning into this arena area, ignoring most of it because we can just walk up there, do a quick little
うまく無理やり渡ってですね
roll in heavy, and then it brings us into this locked gated arena,
ストーリー進行上ここで戦闘が起こ
which
るんですが アイフックをやると本当はこれがね全部
not the worst. Ice arena is the worst, but this one's a pain in the butt sometimes.
仕方ない
Because of the separated platforms with the water, there's a lot of enemies here that have randomized movement patterns. Like these boomerangs. They normally come toward you, but not necessarily, and not always
あいつなんて懐
like
かしい
directly toward you a set amount. So, like I said, this combat is scripted in the sense that enemies always spawn in the same place, but not necessarily their behavior after that. So the boomerangs are a really good example of that, where they once they've spawned, they can kind of just do whatever.
死なないでね。はいということで、ここが開いたので進めるようになりました。これは通常ルートと同じですね。
Nice.
はいギミックを矢で撃って、ごめんね。
Never in doubt. All right, now we are headed in to the second boss. Since we're doing reverse boss order, it is both the second boss we're gonna fight and the second boss
一旦戻って
that we're supposed to fight.
もう一度戻りましょう。
はい
This is
カエルキングは
the Frog King, and as is tradition,
敵です。カエルキング
I forgot to bring it up in advance. I'm a failure. This community is gonna kill me. All right. Did we reach his name? Here we go. King of the swamp, guardian of the flooded fortress, lord of his domain, ruler of all his phrase, champion of the people, keeper of the five elves, first of his name, second of his other name, he used without middle and initial or mercy, destroyer of all those who would question his rightful ruler, look at him askance, eater of the vanquished, devourer of the indolent, guzzler of the noncommittal, bestower of wrathful opprobrium, and fount of the most wondrous beneficence. All glory to him and his mace, holy dasher of toads, not frogs, but really what are toads anyway, like worse frogs, right? Uglier too, smartest creature in all the land, really clever like that Einstein guy, but more handsome, and okay, I hit the word count.
なぜかこの下から水中をですね
It is quite an name for a chupacabra.
飛んでいきます。
It's a very good name for a Chatacabra.
水中も飛べる
もちろん
あ飛べるんですね。
Normally this fight plays around a lot with
o
the platform that you're on. As you can see, like the Frog King pulls it down, changes gravity, removes tiles. But we just glitch underneath and can just perpetually do damage while he's moving around and doing stuff.
通常やるとこのですねタイルの上で戦うことになるので、タイルでどんどんと足場が狭まる中を苦労しながら戦闘していくことになりますが、まあ、なぜかカラスくん空だけじゃなくて水中も飛べるようなので無敵ですね。お尻を殴っていきます。さあということで撃破ですね。お見事でした。最近カエルキング戦うまくいかないって言ってましたけど今は良かったのでは。
よかったね。
よかったね。
さっきあかんかったから。
ハイフックのリカバリーをしたと。よかったですね。はい。これが盗まれたザイアントソウ
And
ル
now we
の
have two of the three big souls we need. Hooray!
さあカエルキングのソウルも回収しました。そしてまた死者の魂を傷んで
But I will assume that whole arena will be the tombstone. So there's enough space for the whole title.
また能力を強化します。アップグレードを入れて、序盤にもダガーを取りに来た陶器屋敷という場所に戻ってきますがいきなりここで壁抜けをします。特定の階段のところまでまず位置調整して登っていってですね、ここでフックショットを、上に見える壺に当てます。上に壺に当てるとともに上スラッシュローリングを高速入力すると
Doing some difficult type of the warp. Okay.
Yeah, so we needed to glitch through there because, as you can see, there's a key door. We do have the fire that we need to get into that room, but we don't have the key we need to get to the elevator.
またお空を飛ぶために今チャージ落下をして
have to glitch into that space.
お空を飛んでいきます。
This is the second part of Area 1, which, once again, we will be
はい。
この先ですね。
completely ignoring.
大丈夫。
全然
落ち着いて
もうちょっと落ち着いてきたな。
落ち着いてきましたか。緊張は大丈夫ですか。
知ってます。
はい。ここ今ちらっと見えた大きなですねボスが NPC がいました。あれがボスなんですけ
We're
れど
able
も、
to completely
今ボスとの会話イベント
skip that area, skip dialogue, and now this area we have to do somewhat normal, which I honestly don't mind because this area rules. These pistons all move
イベントのスキップしたと。
in time with the music, and when you light different furnaces, they start to activate. And we need to activate them once so that we get the height to be able to do this. So you at least get to see this mechanic a few times.
ですよね。
そうですね。
は
リカバリーさっきみたいなリカバリーがまあちょっと時間はかかるんですけど、可能なルート。可能なルートって言っても普通にソフトロックもするし、やり直しも5分も10分もかかるようなルートであるんですけど、
Nice.
一応安定ルートと言われる。どこが安定してんねんっていう感じであるんですけど、
そうですね。まあ
初心者向けです。
イベントなのでね。初心者向けではないんじゃないですか。
初心者まあビギナールートは他にあるからね。
はい。ということでボス戦に。
And now we've made it to the first boss, which is the third boss. Just taking a safety heal, because no reason not to.
落下して、はい、これで空が飛べるので、その状態でマップ左横側からボスステージに進入します。そうすると、
And now we're fighting Grandma.
から動かず、一方的に
It is.
することができるようになります。ダイヤルが進むと、こうやって一旦降りてくるんですが、もうこの壺の魔女、通称グランマはです
The
ね、
witch.
一切ここから動き
Which is called Grandma. Okay.
Yeah, no, literally called Grandma.
実はフラグがあってですね
Literally.
下から道を通って、ステージの下半分をですね通るとそれでフラグが立つんです
Oh,
ね。
I guess she's acting like a grandma.
Uh-huh. So the reason that Max zoomed over the pit rather than taking the bridge that was right there was not just swag strats. It stops a trigger from going off and setting a flag that basically tells Grandma to start the fight.
はい。
So the cutscene plays and the character appears and you can damage it, but it doesn't do anything.
大丈夫ですかね。
大丈夫です。
またここで、
Grandma is so surprised that no one took the bridge that she's speechless and motionless.
Exactly. Now we have all three souls. We can open the door.
死者の魂を傷ん
So
で
now we get here and Steadhone. I think I called him Stonehenge earlier. I'm tired. It's like 6 a.m. Be nice to me. Steadhone does our last of the 3 little funerals for the corrupted souls. And then we take our 3 souls here, and we are finally going to go visit the Grey Crow at Death's Door. So, normally, right after the Grey Crow bonks you on the head, and right after the Grey Crow bonks you on the head and knocks you out after that first fight, you come to this area, go through all these stairs and everything, fight another boss, and then go talk to the Grey Crow, who explains the plot to you, and is like, hey, we need to go get these 3 corrupted souls so we can open this door so that we can go confront death or something. I don't remember the excuse he gives, but we should have had this cutscene already. Now we are going to talk to him for the first time after we've already collected all of the souls. So we get to skip that whole explanation cutscene, and the game just takes us directly to, oh, hey, you have the souls, open the door cutscene.
吸収させることでこの死の扉を開いていきます。これでタイトル回収ですね。
ね。
さあ、この先に何があるんでしょう。行こう向こう側へということで、向こう側に進んでいくと、
Now we get to go meet my favorite little fanny pack wearing boy.
生命一つない。そして後ろを向くと
It's death.
やあということで死神が登場します。はい。
死神。
まあここが死神
This is all fanny pack.
英語表記やったらですっていうことで普段
So spoilers.
同じなんですけど
デスマークですね。
We have to go through this whole cutscene,
こ
but
のゲームの主題がやっぱり死っていうことでどうしてもやっぱ
basically
硬い印象があるからまあそれでも
Death didn't like the job because it was Syed.
こういうのを表現する
And so the Lord of Doors was like, I'll take the work off your hands.
身近なもの
Nothing nefarious happening here. But then the Lord of Doors started to amass power and
っていうふうに
become
感じますね
bad,
ですね。
and locked Death
英語だと
behind
デス
this door.
って全部の意味を表すんですけど
The Grey Crow
死そのもの
thought that opening this door would
このゲー
give
ム
him
における
eternal life,
デスマークだ
but it won't, and now the Grey Crow gets mad, and we have to
さあなぜか
reap
灰
his
色カラス
corrupted
が
soul.
敵
Oops.
対して戦うことになってしまった。
ハイヒール
なぜ
黒。
さあ死神はさらっといなくなってボス戦灰色ガラス戦です。
It doesn't look like it, but
灰色ガラス戦はですね
sorry.
殴るとそこ
Grey
から
Crow fight real
こ
hard.
の羽がですね
Um,
落ちてです
he
ね
moves very erratically, and as you can see, every time you hit him, these little like crowlings spawn. You can hit those back at him for a lot of damage. The nice thing is projectiles do 2 times damage of whatever weapon you use to hit them. So
なのでうまく打ち返してダメージを入れながら
the optimal strat is to use as many of those murderlings as possible, and
これはですね吸引力があります。はい。
use primarily projectiles to take care of
こういう形
the
で
fight.
ですね
But they're a little unwieldy. They don't always go the exact direction you think they're going to. So consistency is hard. But that was a great Grey Crow fight. I would take that any day of the week.
だいぶ早かったね。
Nice thing about Grey Crow, we don't have to watch the post-fight cutscenes. The flag sets as soon as you get the last hit, so you can just save and quit right away, and it takes you to this
死神のダイヤル
post-fight
を挟みます。
like
灰色カラス
wrap-up
は
thing.
ジャイアントソウルを
Quick
探し
dialogue, and we're done. And then we talk to Death,
これ何もない世界
save and quit again.
でしまったんですが、なぜ
And now we're here, which is super nice and easy because we can go back to the hub world. we find out that
カラス君たちが会議を
now that everyone knows that the Lord of Doors is corrupt and evil,
扉の王が
everyone's ready
シワ
for
クの根源である
a mutiny.
ということで
We're gonna
扉の王を
grab
やっつけに
another strength upgrade just to make the fight a little bit easier, and we are headed to our final boss.
さあ一度進行を保存して
One more round of the save and quit
長い長い
because that door just spawned, so it takes us right to the door if we save and quit.
はい、
灰色ガラス線や扉の王との戦
And
い
then we go confront
なぜ
the Lord of
この
Doors.
戦わなければいけないのかというのは今回 RTA なのでストーリーの中身はですね全然お話ししていません、結構深いシビアな話が待っているんですシリアスな話が待っているんですが今日はそこには触れないまま、最後までいきたいと思います、ぜひですね気になる方は遊んでみていただきたいなと思っています
So we start this final boss fight just on this little platform, and
この狭いステージ
if
で
you stand there, none of those hit you, which is really nice. So we start on this little platform, and then the Lord of Doors takes enough damage and sends us into this kind of gauntlet section.
このステージは
And so it's a platforming gauntlet where we are chasing
ライオンみたいな
them through areas
これが走ってくるので
based on
避けながら
each of the areas of the game so far. And then at the end of each of these areas, the Lord of Doors is going to drop a door. Our job is to stand in the right place, so as soon as the door falls, we hit the trigger and go straight through it. After each of those doors, or after each of those areas, we have a little boss fight where the Lord of Doors does the attacks of one of the three main bosses. So we kind of get like a semi-boss rush refight of everything in between these platforming sections.
痛い攻撃をされることがあります。ここもですね固定なのでパターンを覚えてどんどん敵の攻撃をかわしていきましょう。あ、
珍しい。
はい。さあ次のステージですね。また扉の王が出てきますのでジャンピングアタックを
I think we're doing enough damage that we're never going to see
さあさっき出て
the
こなかった波状攻撃が始まりました。こうやってだんだん攻撃の種類が増えていきます。
the like special attacks. So in each of those areas, if you go on long enough, like in one of them it does the Betty roll, in one of them it does like Grandma's fire attacks, and in one of them it does the Frog King's like
いつもと同じように進んでい
belch
くんですが
attacks.
本番ということも
But
あ
we
って
only saw like
ちょっと緊張して
one of those each because we're going so fast. So now the Betty fight. Hopefully we will get the kill before a roll, but probably not because we missed two there. So we're gonna have to deal with
ごめん緊張してる。うん
a set of rolls.
さあ
Only one, not a big deal.
好きなのと同じローリング攻撃をここで、扉の王が出してくるようになり
And
ます。
just playing a little safe there, rolling away instead of through.
結構ですね
Now we're on the last platforming section.
さあここも覚えゲーです
And
ね。
again, taking it a little safe, not doing any zoomies, just doing restricted style roll only movement. Because with only 2 pips of health, it's just not worth the risk. Yeah. Nice, easy. Alright, so now we get all of our health back and do the actual last fight.
非常に長くやらしい覚
We've
えゲー
survived the gauntlet, and we now confront the Lord of Doors back where it all started.
扉の王との最後の戦いになります。タイマーストップはですね近いですよ。カラスが飛び降りた数秒後です。お見逃しなく。
So time is on
ここ
the
で
last
扉の王
hit
との最後の
of
海
this
外イベ
fight.
ントでなぜなら私は決して死なないからだと言ってるんですが、さてどうなるんでしょうか。この後ですねダイアログが終わり次第マップ左端に行って扉の王にフックショットを当てることで
The last
左側に行き
Lord
ます。よく見ていてください。さあ左端に行ってローリングをうまく避けながらフックショットをちょっと避けましたね。避けてもう一回
You're not taking damage on that corner.
Apparently not. I'm not familiar with this approach. I think maybe we're trying to.
壁抜けしましたね。
Oh?
そしてレーザーを撃ってくるタイミングで
I guess we're just using
誘
the
導
Lord
し
of
て
Doors
その数
to
秒
pull
後
us through the
扉の王
corner.
が落下し
I'm not
し
familiar.
ました。タイマーストップです。
What?
私は決して死なないからだって言ってませんでした。
Apparently, opening a text box during the fight wins the fight.
ごめん
I
落ちちゃ
did
った
not know that. That's wild.
最後のキルはどうか許せなんでね。
はい
まあまあそういうことです。
落下死してごめんねってことで
Oh,
す
that's
か
so
ね。
funny.
ですね。
はい。
Well,
というこ
that's
とで
more or less the Lord of Doors fight, and that is Death's Door Unrestricted, latest patch, any weapon.
でも最後まで
はい。
飛ばしましょうか。
GG's
行きま
Max.
しょう。
Sky
この
Small.
辺りでも扉の王の話が進んでいくんですが、実は
Yet again, we have learned something new today.
普通のエンデ
It
ィングの
seems.
他にトゥルーエンディング
Yeah, I had no idea that was
ト
the
ゥルーエンディングはですね、初回は
that
多
was the
分
play.
ダブル
That's
ステージのは
wild.
ずなので、2回以降ですね。
So the game has gotten more updates since, or
かなと思いますので、ぜひ皆さんもトゥルーエンディングまで
is that related back from way back at this
I think
point?
it's just I don't know how old it is. It could be like a year.
ということで扉の王を
But
空へ
it's just the community is still so active that we are still
空に昇華していきます。どう見
we're
て
still
も
finding new
お
stuff.
寿司の卵
These runs are still
赤森さんです
improving and getting faster.
ということで、エンディングロールに入ります。
It's just it's one of those games that like
さあじゃあ感想
if the speedrunning community stays active enough for long enough, you just keep improving the run in little ways. And this community just has not given up on this game yet. So I think that's awesome.
まあある意味皆
Yeah,
さん
so now in our credits, we get to see a bunch of areas that we didn't go to and a bunch of NPCs that we didn't interact with.
運営の皆さん、スタッフの皆
So
さん、
you're still running this game to this day currently?
楽しい時間を過ごせ
I haven't done a run in a little bit.
僕は
though
楽しんでて
I should. I would like to. I do miss it. Game's really good.
置いてきてもらったかなわからない難しいことがいっ
But
ぱいあった
there still are folks very active in the Discord.
何回も見直してくだ
Community
さい
is still very, very active.
僕がここで走れてるのは
So if anyone happens to be watching and is interested in playing this game,
スプレッド
go to the SRC page and check out the Discord.
理解のある
Super
ここに送り出
Cool
して
community, very active.
家族のおかげであり、何
Um,
諦めそうになった時に
and
隣にいる解説者のおかげで
there's a ton of resources for new players as well, both for restricted and unrestricted. There's a lot of stuff available to help you get into the game, and people who are ecstatic to answer questions if anyone pops up and has a question. So always feel encouraged to join if the game seems interesting to you.
See, did look pretty interesting. It is also 80% off currently for winter Steam sale. For
Nice.
anyone interested.
Hard to beat that. So it's just like a couple bucks now at this point.
I don't know. Let me check quickly.
Yeah, $4 American.
Yeah, for euros Europe as well.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah, 4 USD. I cannot stress enough how worth it is. Even if you just want to play the game casually, I mean, you did not meet all of the fun little characters there. You didn't see most of the mechanics or most of the fights. There's a ton of content that has not been spoiled by this run. But it's a really cute game with a lot of heart and really good characters. Combat feels fantastic. Movement feels really good. And I mean, you'd easily spend probably 20 hours on a casual playthrough. So hard to argue with spending $4 for 20 hours of gameplay.
For sure, for sure.
今ですね、セール中の Steam では460円。
When we saw that cutscene earlier with Death, it just reminded me of a Death game that was in last summer, which and I felt like it was you got bad ending where you decided bad deaths, so you got fired off your job and you went to prison because of this.
Exactly. Ooh, you can also there's a bundle right now for the Steam sale of Death's Door and Crypt Custodian, which is another game I speedrun, which is a top-down Metroidvania. you get another 10% off if you bundle them. So highly recommend. Both of those games are bangers.
Same studio.
No. I'm not. I believe same publisher maybe is why they're bundled, or maybe it's just that they're similar games.
Maybe similar games, unless the other is published by Devolver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Crypt Custodian is like a single dev indie game by Kyle Thompson.
ainsi, while we just ended the run of Death's Door, we'll be heading towards the backup run that was added a couple hours earlier, Calling, before Smash TV and Kinky Spiritual Affairs Bureau later on. I may be going on a little bit longer on hosting. Otherwise, we might be seeing Clouds at the very beginning of the next run. Other than that, see you in just a minute in that case.